Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Game Over Vancouver. My name is Mark Sianquita, and today I am joined by Kaja in a Thatcher Demko shutout. A 3-0 Thatcher Demko shutout against the Colorado Avalanche. And obviously, we're both Canucks fans. This game will this one game basically makes us all ask if we're back. And you know what? Whether we are or we are not, we are here to discuss it today. Before we get started, please check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered. For all your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement, you can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. Sorry, I just want to say, if this was Twitch, I would give VIP to Filipino right now.
I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness, that is amazing.
So thank you for making my nights. Hello, Mr. Wilkins, Alfred. Thank you for joining us once again. Scott White says hi with Calgary now, and this team is shooting for the moon. That is 100% the overreaction for tonight. So just to quickly start off the episode, to recap the game quickly, because there are a few standouts tonight that I want to point out. Just to recap the, pregame news. This is Martin Nikis's first game in Vancouver as a member of the Avalanche. No Quinn Hughes again, though. So he was probable to play today, but they ended up resting him, which at first on paper seems like a mistake because you're resting Quinn Hughes against Cale Makar, which is always fun to watch. But alas, we had a lineup which consisted of Forbert and Hronek on the first line, with Marcus Persson and Tyler Myers, and then Elias Persson, so DPD, and Carson Soucy. On paper, that looks horrible. But if you guys at least know, if you guys at least know the score of tonight, you would know that was actually not the case. Okay, chats. PD was great. Young PD was dynamite tonight. DPD, I would say, is the MVP of tonight. If Demko didn't get a shutout, it would be DPD. Anyways, just to go recap the game really quickly. First period, it was very one-sided from the Avalanche. Exciting nonetheless, though. Lots of shots on Demko. Demko was able to get warmed up. If you saw it in the power plays, though, I will say, I'm going to start off with the negatives, which is only one that I saw in that. Without Quinn Hughes, the power play is kind of bad. It's really bad. What did you think, Kaja?
Oh, it is not good. Like, I am a I am a Philip Hronek hater at the best of times. But like I feel sympathy whenever I see him try and run the power play because obviously that's not his job. Yeah, I the power play, especially when you have a 5-on-3, Cale Makar is in the box. How do you send out only 3 guys from the bench? Like, that's stupid. But also, yeah, not one shot on goal. You have 2 players on advantage on Colorado who you're already up to nothing against. Pepper them. Why are we passing around? Why are we trying to get everybody on the score sheet? No. Shoot it. Be selfish. Do the opposite of what Team Canada did at the World Juniors. Like, shoot the puck. Shoot the puck. That's why I felt like the arena was yelling, shoot the damn puck. Not even a shot. Like, I know the Canucks have had some nights where they're not shooting a lot. They had 31 shots on goal. None on that 5-on-3. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and just in case you guys just came in, chat, negativity I'm just starting off with because that was the only thing that I really found bad about today. I actually thought Horonik was starting to shoot a bit more, but alas, that our power play in general was pretty bad, and there's no movement, there's no off puck possession. But that being said, just to go back to the quick game recap, the first goal was scored by Jake DeBrusk with a nice put in. Literally palms the puck, puts it down, and then puts it into the net. And the reason why I'm okay to say that we're back is because anytime there is talk about streak, at least we are on the hot side of the Jake DeBrusk streak. Also, soon after that, the DeBrusk goal, Demko finally looked like Demko with a great save, positioning himself to get the slightest of gloves onto a nice one-timer and gloving it again to stop the play. I'd say the energy of the crowd tonight was great with Demko at least regaining form. What did you think about that, Kaja?
I thought it was really great to see. I was glad he finally got the shutout against the Avs because he was so close. He was so close last time we played them, and then like Valerina Shushkin in like the last minute scores. That run in the second where he just, I believe that was the second period when he did like
Yep.
4 insane shots. This is 4 insane saves on the same play. That was insane. Like I was sitting at my mom's, I was sitting with our dog, and I'm just like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. And I literally made my mom come over to the TV just to see what had happened, like just for the replay. And they only showed 2 of the saves. I was a little pissed. Yeah, he is he's getting back to where he was in like his elite form. But yeah, I think it's really good to see.
Nice. Also, if you guys catch me looking this way and laughing, it's because of Filipino every single time. Sorry, thank you for making my night.
It's so good. It's so good. I commend you for that because you made that channel like within the last few days. So
but anyways, okay, so to quickly go back to the game recap, the second goal by Besser was on a power play, and not to discredit Besser's goal at all because he was like what 1 in 10 today in terms of shots and goals, but what's it called? And sure, it was a power play goal, but it was a power play goal off the rush, and to their credit, they were able to skate into the slot pretty fast. DeBrusk with another nice assist to get the one-timer off with the Besser goal. But like I said, don't let the power play goal fool you. Our power play was still really bad. But a major positive of today, though, is DPD, Elias Pettersson. Like, let's see, Filipino actually made a great point in that, saying the players since Miller has been gone literally all look happier. And I think that was really obvious based off of their body language because none of them were giving up, especially for DPD. DPD was finishing almost every hit while not giving up play. He was standing up for Connor Garland for one, and keep in mind, this guy is 20 years old, but he's showing maturity of a player in his prime on the ice. Like
he's playing like it's his 6th season. He's playing it like it's his 6th season in NHL. This is his 4th NHL game. Mm-hmm. He's younger than me.
And that says a lot. Because you're like 12.
Why? That's my bit. No. I've been really impressed with his play so far. Throughout, just like he only had 13 minutes of ice time, but it felt like his presence, you could feel it on the ice. I feel I mean, I would say he's the defenseman I noticed the most tonight, but that's just because he was always doing something. He was always uh completing the check. He was always doing a defense. That's
Fair.
I was like, my brain just kind of ran out of room there. Yeah, I thought it was really good to see him, and also kind of to prove a point. We can have multiple players with the same name, and it will work out.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Very fair.
Also, the Cale Makar haterade, like, always misses the net. Can't get a shot off to save his life. Tries to get a penalty by diving. I admittedly didn't really see that whole play. I just know that I just heard on the play, just Makar's falling down. He's trying to get the call. It's not gonna happen. I'm like, cool. And then he gets sent to the penalty box. He failed when Hughes wasn't even playing. Connor, amazing
Yep.
read. That's
Very fair.
like, yeah, Quinn Hughes is a better player than Cale Makar, and that is my hot take.
I
Which
mean,
I don't even think is a hot take at this point. Like, Quinn Hughes wasn't even going against this man, and Cale looked like he was playing Pee Wee.
yeah, I think like, and I say this with full bias, like, there's a reason why Quinn Hughes is in contention to be a Hart Trophy winner, while Cale Makar isn't even, in my eyes, in the top two for the Norris. So,
Wait, who's your
yeah.
top two then? It's Quinn, obviously, and
It's
then
Quinn Hughes and then Kyle, I can't pronounce his name, but on Columbus? Let me,
There's a Kyle on Columbus?
give me one quick second.
I'm trying to rack my brain. Because I'm like, Carol Palmieri,
Oh, no, sorry,
he's an
not Kyle,
Islander.
not Kyle. Zach
Oh, Zach Werenski.
Ruwensky. Thank you for pronouncing it.
Yeah.
My lisp is bad. Yes.
No, I'm just Eastern European and I know the names.
Okay, cool. Thank you. If you need help with the Filipino name, I got you. But it's okay.
This
'Cause
is what
John
diversity
Shorehouse-
gets you.
Yeah, John Shorehouse got Filipino already in the bag, so we're fine. But yeah, so to quickly end off the game recap, we got an empty net goal from Drew O'Connor, who showed honestly, like, sure, it's an empty net goal and they're supposed to be simple, but he showed a lot of composure going into the neutral zone. Stayed very patient, wasn't rushing to get a goal off of, like, a goal from his zone, and instead skated into the neutral zone. And I just to start off with, like, individual play, I think he's he's super underrated. I was talking about this with Kaya last show in how he might become the Connor Garland to the OEL trade, and the fact that he was a throw-in and yet is able to produce pretty well. I think as a bot 6 forward, I was really impressed by him. He was utilizing his body a lot to make room for the smaller players to skate. And yeah, I mean, what did you think of Drew O'Connor?
I was like, why is he still holding on to the puck? First of all, I was like, bro, just shoot it. But I understand having the composure there. That's a good thing to have. And yeah, I mean, good for him. He gets his first as a Canuck. Yes, it's a empty netter, but who cares? A goal's a goal. A win's a win.
Mm-hmm.
We take it when we can get it. But yeah, congrats to him. I do think, yeah, he's probably going to become, maybe not like, because Connor Garland's kind of turned into a top 6 forward. I'm not sure if he'll develop into that, because I think he's a bit older than Garland was when Garland came to us.
He is. But
I think that he is definitely a good option for our bottom 6 going forward. I also completely missed when you're talking about the DeBrusque goal, and I just wanted to mention Jake DeBrusque continues the streaks of weird goals. True. He's leading the Canucks in goals. He has the weirdest bounces ever. It's always something ridiculous is going on in front of the net, and it's a Jake DeBrusque goal. So.
And yeah, honestly, like, I think that's kind of where the streakiness comes from, because it's kind of reliant on luck in a sense.
Yeah,
but at the same time, oh sorry, I cut you off.
Oh
But
no, no, I was gonna say something dumb.
oh no, okay, I want to hear it now.
Oh, it's just like me when I'm playing Shell and I just press all the buttons to see what happens.
And you score.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's it.
But yeah, like I'm just gonna call you Filipino. Okay, Filipino in chat says the best makes his money with greasy goals, and you know what? A greasy goal is still a goal. Like it takes a good player to find those greasy goals and to get them behind the net. So good on him. 100%. Go to the net by Steve Dongle. Nice, thank you. Um, but okay, going back into the Makar dives in terms of him trying to get a penalty. I I've been watching PD play like Elias Persson. He he's slowly switching up his game in the sense that because of the fact that he doesn't skate as fast anymore, because of the fact that his wrist and his knees will never really be the same. He's been drawing a lot more penalties, including that one kill Makar penalty late in the third. He's been back checking a lot harder as well, to the point where like I genuinely think if he could keep it up, he could be a late contender for the Selkie.
I've
Yeah.
been saying this. Elias Pettersson, the forward, of course, should be in contention for the Selkie. Like he's going to be, because he scored a lot of points earlier as a rookie and stuff like that. He's not going to be appreciated for his defensive talent. It's the same thing, honestly, that a lot of people have with the argument that Mitch Marner should be in contention for a Selkie. I don't necessarily agree with that take, because I don't watch enough Mitch Marner hockey to understand it. At the same time, I think that Pettersson, yeah, his defensive game has skyrocketed over the last few years, and I think that honestly, um, he should be in contention for that. But you could also see a bit of his slap shot has come back too, which I'm excited to see.
I agree, and he's been taking the shots too. Like he hasn't really been. Let me actually. I just realized I accidentally moved you.
Okay, you could tell PD is Swedish because he has no Finnish. He actually has Finnish ancestry. Fun fact. Yeah, my camera it decided to make me shorter.
I see it, guys. Thank you. But yeah, speaking of Pedersons though, who would have thought that out of the three Pedersons, the one to make the most impact tonight was DPD. And I was gonna use this as the second period, but you know what, I just want to talk about him now because his impact tonight was crazy. He was everywhere, which says a lot because of the fact that he's a big defenseman. Um, utilizes his big body, but he at least is able to. He does what the defenseman on the team can't do, other than Quinn Hughes, in that he's able to pass the puck to our forwards. Which.
Do we have a baby Quinn Hughes?
Connor Garland's son, technically.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, but he's named Quentin after the character from Jaws, which I did not know there's a character named Quentin in Jaws.
It's very
'Cause
on brand after his going home
oh,
video.
he's obsessed with Jaws. I remember watching those like get to know the new Canucks videos that they had. I think it was OEL and Garland in a video back in 2021. And Garland, I swear, every second answer would be about Jaws.
Really? Huh.
He loves that movie. Yeah,
Dang.
I was not surprised, but it's kind of funny. No,
Nice.
Marcus is known as Dragon. I can't get over that. That's
I like.
you're a grown ass man. I'm not calling you Dragon.
I honestly after the last show, I kind of do want that nickname to become something in fruition, because knowing John Shorehouse, he's gonna make a decent joke on air.
Yeah.
And Tomlinson's gonna leave him to dusk again because he won't get it. But I I don't know how I feel about the nickname Dragon because like it's I don't know. It is fun, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, let's go Dragon. Someone's gonna say. Someone's gonna say it.
That's that's that just sounds like whenever we got to skip class to watch a basketball game when I was in high school.
Hmm.
Let's go Dragons. Anyway, uh,
But yeah.
Delius. Delius.
Sorry,
That's
I think of
whenever
Dahlia.
yeah, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Colin Delia. Wait.
But yeah, okay. So, continuing on with DPD though, Filipino makes a good point in terms of, DPD. Whenever he shoots, it actually is able to go through traffic and hit the goalie instead of getting blocked instantly by his own stick, aka Heronic. But I'm I'm so glad I was wrong about DPD. I am absolutely like over the moon that th- our answer to another top 60 was just in their farm. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. We traded away JT Miller when we could have just driven a guy up Highway 1.
But granted though,
Oh yeah, no, it was
JT would have
deserved,
had,
but like
yeah, no, 100%. It makes sense. Uh who else impressed you tonight though?
um the honestly, if impressed, I mean Demko obviously, Elias Pettersson, honestly. Um Carson Soucy.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say it. It's a hot take. Carson Soucy, he was scratched last game, needed a reset. Apparently, he's on the. I almost said chopping block. This isn't chopped. This
Oh,
is
the trade block.
trading block. He was
Hmm.
on the trade block as reported today. I thought he had a decent game. You know, he wasn't overly noticeable on bad plays. He was getting the puck in the zone. He was holding it in. Like he was doing a pretty good job. I would say I noticed Heedle less than I did last game, but maybe that's just because all the Canucks gave a damn tonight
Hmm.
compared to last game when it was just like a few.
No, that makes sense. And granted, like Susie was out last game apparently because he needed a mental reset, and I think it was for one well deserved because at the end of the day, Susie out of most of the decor that we have was the one that was getting shat on the most. But who would have thought that the one thing that you had to do to fix him was to put him on the right side, right?
Yeah, like on like the side you don't normally think to do that for.
Mm-hmm.
What I find also really funny is you basically just turn it off, turn it back on again. That's
Basically,
basically what they did. They turned it off and turned it back on again, and look,
and it worked.
good defense. Yeah, it worked. It definitely worked.
Makes sense. But yes, the last, I guess, to quickly talk about Filipino, he, I wouldn't say he was as invisible, but he definitely still impressed me tonight. Like he, it, the way that he puck handles, it kind of looks like he's slowing time down, in a sense, because
Mm-hmm.
he plays so slowly, but he's able to deke around defensemen so well without, and I'm gonna use it again, without losing composure and staying patient. Instead of overreacting and just dumping the puck into the zone, he's able to still keep the puck on his stick, and even if it's not on his stick, he's still staying on the puck, making sure that there's no space between him and the puck being lost by an Avalanche defender. So I would say that he still played pretty well. But finally, I want to talk about Demko, which is what the second period will be about today. And before we get into talking about our Lord and Savior Thatcher Demko, if you guys are looking for ways to help an upstart media company employ over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada, if you guys have a few spare bucks kicking around, please head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you will find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's extra access, exclusive looks behind the scene, Discord benefits, merch discounts, opportunities to give us feedback, as well as the fact that you can join us for some special shows live where you can interact with hosts as we launch more ways to improve your experience. If you guys are not able to spare us a few dollars, we have a free tier available so you do not miss out. If you really want to help us, make sure you click like and subscribe on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app, and share our work of your social media of choice. Okay, so Thatcher Demko tonight obviously gets the shutout
Finally.
and finally gets the shutout, and this I would say is other than the almost shutout that was also against the Avalanche, this was one of the first games where he looked like his old self. It was weird to hear like vintage Demko on commentary because like it's weird to imagine this part of Demko being part of his past. So the question has to be asked: Is his game tonight what we expect moving forward, or is this a one-off? Because Lankinen is still looking to extend with the Canucks. Like he has basically spoken and said that he wants to stay part of the Canucks, but at the end of the day, he was brought here as a backup. So obviously, we have to see a few more games of Demko like this. But what are your initial thoughts about it?
Like, I'd like to keep both of them, obviously. It's good to have a competent backup, but yeah, I feel like the Canucks, if they're going to go with Lankinen, they're obviously going to have to trade Demko. I feel like that's the route that they go. And if they want, like, are we letting Lankinen walk? Are we keeping Demko? Like, what's their aim for the postseason? What's anything there? I think they keep Lankinen because I think they do have a shot at the playoffs right now. They're tied, or did we pass
We're
the
tied
Flames?
with the Flames now.
Okay, we're tied with the Flames. So we still have a chance to get in. Like pretty decent chance too. But when it comes to Demko specifically, I think we'd need a few more games in order to understand where we're at with him because like every goalie has off nights, but it feels like he's almost as streaky as DeBrusque when it comes to scoring.
Fair.
Like he'll have a string of games where it's just like, oh yeah, Demko's so back, and then he'll have some games where it's just like, oh, wow. And I mean, like I don't know his injury situation, if like it's still bothering him, like the muscle starts with a P that I cannot pronounce properly. Also 4 points back from the third place Kings. Yes, true. Let's please knock the Kings out of the playoffs.
I don't want to face the Kings in the playoffs at all.
I don't want to face the Kings, period. I think they should cease to exist as an organization. I thought Lankinen is going to win 4 Nations. He's also going in there as a backup. So, I mean, because he has UC Saros and who is the other goalie for Finland?
Let me see.
I'm trying to think, and me thinking is not. It's not a good combo.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
That's okay. So, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to be third stringer. I'm assuming because he's the youngest. He's like, yeah. What sports league in North America could survive without Los Angeles?
It's just more so like
I'm just a hater.
You're a hater. It's just more PTSD for me.
Oh,
just because
me,
they feel like a crutch.
Yeah, For me, it's 2012 when they knocked us out in the first round and tweeted "You're welcome." I still have not forgiven them for that.
Hmm.
It was 13 years ago.
No, like the Kings are always, to me, the dark horse of the Western Conference. Um, I don't know. It's just something about
No, they have
yeah.
to. The prophecy has to be fulfilled. They have to face Edmonton again in the first round and lose and lose in 4 games this time, and then suddenly they'll somehow lose a series in 3 games, and we'll just keep going down because they lost in 7, they lost in 6, they lost in 5 last year. Now they just gotta get the sweep.
Very fair. But yeah, at least going back to Demko for now. I think, hopefully speaking, just because I'm actually beating us to the team overall, just playing really well, especially without JT Miller. Like they're actually playing for one another now. I hope that morale wise, that's able to help Demko, I guess, wake up in a sense. Like his first star interview, after the 3 stars, he mentioned that the fans really got him going. And if we're able to keep that up, and if the team is also able to keep that up, I think having Demko at peak form again and Lankinen as a backup, hopefully they still stay healthy, just so we don't have to call up Zelovs again. But if that's their future of this season, I I'm very very down. And oh yeah, sorry, I cut you off again.
Oh,
My bad.
oh, no, 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 I wasn't really gonna add much to that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It really depends on like I like the fans keeping him going. That's a good thing. But yeah, I'm not sure. I really I'm cautiously optimistic, we'll say,
Nice.
for for the rest of the season because like we're great as long as Demko doesn't go down again, knock on wood. Lankinen doesn't go down, knock on wood. Like we're very walking on ice. And it's not to say that Shelovs is horrible.
He's just
Let's just
young.
say that. He's just young, he's inexperienced, he had some rough starts this year, he's building back his confidence in the A, but he's still also like a toddler in goalie years. I've been saying this for a long time. He's a toddler in goalie years. He still needs time to develop, he still needs time to work his way through um, a lot of some rougher plays to get back to the NHL level that I'm assuming he will be next year.
Mhm.
So I think he's going to be the backup next year. I think Tolopilo is getting the start in Abbotsford for next season. I think Shelovs gets the backup job next year. It just depends who's in front of him based on what this front office sees from Demko and sees from Lankinen over the next few games. Because Lankinen also hasn't had like he was amazing to start the season and he really saved us when Demko was out. But like he's similar to Demko now. He has on nights and off nights. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that Kevin Lankinen's a terrible goalie. He was really good for us against Detroit. But again, every goalie has off nights. Even Vasilevsky's human.
It's understandable. I'm just glad that we're at a point now where we can look at the team and not implode, and actually look, I guess, towards the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because like the last, I swear, like all of the shows in January, we were just like doom scrolling, but instead of, I guess, like TikTok, it was just the Canucks, and like anything about the Canucks. So I'm just glad that right now we're at a point where we could actually at least look towards the future with this team. And what's it called? Just to quickly move into the third period, I wanted to okay, if you're enjoying the show so far, you probably want more of this. Well, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video, click subscribe, and make sure you check the notification bell so you are alerted when we go live. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, please give us a 5-star rating or even write a positive review. If you really like us, please make sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can find the Game Over Network on Blue Sky at thegameovernetwork.com, on TikTok and Twitter at the Game Over NHL, and on Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn at Game Over Network. Okay, so speaking about looking towards the future, I like to bring this up just because, like I said, I like to overreact at stuff. And this was a great game against the Avalanche. Morale was up. People like Filipino just said, people like Hoglander, people like Teddy Bluger, Pia Suter were still being able to contribute even though they weren't the standouts of the game. Um, the question does need to be asked: are we back? And if we're back, are we looking to contend for a cup this year, or should we sell for next year?
Okay, I'm gonna make a statement that may be unpopular. I don't think we have to sell for next year. I don't think we're contending for a cup this year, but I don't think we have to sell for next year. I
Hmm.
think we get into the playoffs, but we, as a team, because this is a game, pretty decent game against a very good team. It's
Hmm.
a Colorado Avalanche. They're perennial contenders. Um, they won the cup in 22. Like they are there. They have been there. They have the experience. They've gotten to the first, second, third round. I think the Canucks need to build up a bit of that. Like they had a great run last season.
Hmm.
They win the Pacific Division, they get into the second round, bring the Oilers to 7 games. I think last year was a good stepping stone. I don't think we're contending yet, but that's just because of a lot of, I don't want to say bad luck, but just a lot of the stuff that's been bogged down this season. I think the Canucks still do make the playoffs in like a wild card position. I'm not sure if they go for a complete run though.
Hmm.
Like again, anything can happen when you get to the playoffs. I don't think they get into the playoffs. I don't think they're like one of the top contending teams. But they get in, they get their experience, and then they come back next year, bring it together, run it back. They do have a few free agents, but I think we have to build it up a little bit more because that was the first playoff hockey experience that a lot of our players got. Like if we're discounting the bubble, which yeah, it was playoff hockey, but like
I
it
don't
didn't
count
have the
that.
same it didn't have the
Yeah.
same feel.
Hmm.
So really you have to build the team back to like I mean, it's not going to be the same roster that it was in the late 2000s, early 2010s when they're constantly in that conversation.
Hmm.
But I think they're still building up to that point where they're like, it's a conversation of, oh yeah, the Canucks are contenders.
Hmm. Nice. I actually fully agree with that statement. Like I do think we make that push to be in the wildcard spot, but I don't really see us improving much more from it. Especially since we're at the latter half of the season with the All Star break. I believe starting next week, right? Or sorry, not All Star week. Four
I
Nations
was
break.
about to
Yeah.
say, Four Nations, there's no such thing as All-Stars. Four Nations, the totally valid tournament that we're going to ruin our captain's lower body for. Oh, I hope
I,
they
I
pull
I
it or
hope they don't play it,
something. I
or at
like
least like doesn't go as hard.
I know. I'm like Quinn Hughes, I get it. You want to represent your country and all that, nationalism, big whoop. But just wait a year. You're young, buddy. It's not like I'm telling Drew Doughty to not lace him up, right?
Hmm.
Like, you're young. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do not go to Montreal. That's all I'm asking. Quentin, please do not do this to Vancouver faithful, our captain, our leader. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I almost went into a whole like wrestling spiel, and I was like, yeah, Quinn Hughes is our Roman Reigns, but we're not going there.
I mean, I acknowledge him every day in my existence.
I
So,
acknowledge Quinn Hughes. I acknowledge Quinn Hughes.
but hey, you know what? Team USA has the Jays, so they they have everyone else. They don't need
Yeah,
Roman
literally.
Reigns.
You
Roman
know
Reigns
what?
is able to take away time, so
Mm, You know what? Take out Quinn, put in Luke. No one will notice.
actually though.
I mean, Luke's a little taller and has lighter hair, but like I swear,
Hmm,
come on, come on.
yeah, it's the same number. Also,
Literally.
shout outs to the Ducks actually, because they beat the Stars today.
I need
Which
to update my in-season Stanley Cup. I have a spreadsheet for it, because
For
of
that?
course I do.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually held it before the Stars took it away from us last week.
Oh.
We held it for 6
So
days.
now the Ducks. Who are the Ducks playing next?
Um, Not sure. Yeah, the Canucks have not had the in-season loser cup yet, I believe.
Mm,
But they have had the in-season cup for 6 days when we beat
nice.
Washington because they had held it for 9 days. We beat
Nice.
Washington. We held it for 6 days. 6 days. Gave it to Dallas.
Fair.
Um,
Just to look at chat actually. So Alfred says, "I'll give this team at least 15 games to see if we're back. Right now it's too early." Yeah, I think it's a great point just because we do need to see what the team will look like after Four Nations. Because even I guess like last year, almost every playoff team really, you don't really get to see what a team will look like in the playoffs until the break. Because that's when form will change.
yeah, and
Uh,
also let's stick in Czechia instead.
hey, you know what? If they do and Filipino plays, that means we get Filipino representation in the Four Nations Cup. I'm gonna milk that as much as I can.
I'm like trying to think of what goaltenders are Czech. I think Peter Mrazek's Czech. That's what people try.
I
NHL.
mean, I feel can we just get Dominic Hasek back? That would be
I
entertaining.
don't think that works. Let me check. It's oh wow. Okay. Peter Mrazek,
Hmm.
David Riddick,
Hmm.
Vitek Vanacek, Karel Vejmelka.
Wait, isn't Lucas Dostalchuk?
Oh yeah, Lucas Dostal. He's pretty good. He's just stuck on Anaheim. So
Uh,
um
so it's like bad by
RIP.
representation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I think actually no, the highest save percentage is Jacob Dobesh, who has played 7 NHL games. Um for the Habs, and also Dan Vladar of the Calgary Flames. Yeah, I forgot about Dostal. Dostal. There's an accent over the S, so
Hmm.
yeah. Um,
But yeah, anyways, chat. What do you guys think about the Canucks' playoff? I guess playoff push now, just because front office has made it pretty obvious that we're not gonna we're not gonna lay it low, especially this season since we traded away another first right after trading away a center.
yeah, I mean, considering the teams behind us are Utah, St. Louis, Anaheim, and Seattle. I mean, I'm not counting Nashville, Chicago, or San Jose, but I think if Utah leapfrogged us for a playoff spot because we gave up, I'd be pretty embarrassed if I was the front office, considering this team is basically like they speed ran building an NHL team. Like
They
that's
basically
basically
they literally just stole Arizona. Let's be real.
they
Okay,
stole Arizona and,
so,
and made the best jerseys the worst jerseys in the league. I'm still mad.
side note. Did you see the logos for Utah? They
They're just
literally
gel
from
ripped off.
NHL. Yeah,
They're from gel.
I
Yeah.
used one of them.
I saw that. And so I was like, this looks familiar. Yeah, a little awkward there.
Like
I wonder if they used AI to do it, and then they were just like,
they just
oh
picked
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised because God forbid creatives are used. Builds
Yeah.
an NHL team any percent. Um, yeah.
Myers has started to get better too. Myers has been the unsung hero of the season.
Elite defenseman Tyler Myers.
Uh, at
Shit.
times he was dreadful and was put off balance so easily. I will be honest. I think the only main reason why we would bag on him so much was because of his contract.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Realistically,
only get hate if you're on a big contract now that he's like slash that deal to stay with us. Like I feel like that's like now he's more loved, I feel like the fan base because he doesn't get paid as much. That's why I also feel like if OEL was signed to a contract that was half worth what his contract was when he came here, he would still be a Canuck today.
fair. And his penalty minutes, he has a lot. I feel like I haven't seen that many Tyler Myers penalties this season either.
Gold medal winner
Just like,
Tyler Myers, and they didn't send him to Four Nations. That is, Hockey Canada should be embarrassed. It's the only thing Hockey Canada should ever be embarrassed about is not bringing Tyler Myers to Four Nations. I can't even. Okay.
okay, just a side note, just um, just because I've been wondering about this. Besser's been wearing the A
hmm
ever since JT Miller left. First off, how do you feel about it? Just because I know you're a
I
Besser fan.
I like it. I mean, he is the longest tenured Canuck. He obviously has some sway in the team. I think he's the third in line
Hmm.
to wear it because Quinn Hughes has also been out, right?
Right.
So we need
We
another
need
alternate
another one.
in the game. So Tyler Myers, I feel like usually wears the A, like the second A. Um, but I like Besser having it. I think that's a good show that they're willing to trust him with the leadership position. Also gives me hope that they're re-signing him because um but yeah, I think Myers, because of his experience, because he's kind of like a glue guy, he gets the A too, and I think that's why he ranks in seniority above Besser.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Besser's longer tenured. Um, yeah, I think I like Besser having an A. I think that's super cool. I think it goes away when Quinn comes back, but we'll see. Maybe he keeps it A and Myers gives it up for a game or two and they switch off because we've also seen that in the past. So, and it's not like we're New York where we have like 15 A's.
Makes sense.
They do that.
Like, do they rotate? Like,
They rotate usually
uh,
because I think there's a rule you can only have so many in a game. So like some guys only wear it on the road, some guys only wear it at home, like and they
right.
rotate through. I think it's like you have to have like three representatives.
I remember the Canucks did that when Luongo
Luongo
was
was captain.
the captain.
Yeah,
So that makes sense.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I think at this point I'm just gonna open it up to our overtime period of the stream. But before we do that, what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you guys just need another coffee to get through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady from Game Over Winnipeg, use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. Um, cool. And we already have questions from the chat, which is great. So first question from Connor is question for you both: have we quote unquote won the trades with the Rangers and the Penguins so far? I can answer this one
Um,
first. I think with the Miller one, it's a lose lose. Realistically speaking, if we're thinking JT Miller as a player and not thinking emotionally, obviously we lose because we lose a 100-point player. But as I guess as with JT Miller being an emotional leader and him giving up on the team at that moment, you kind of had to trade him. So in a sense, letting him go and being able to get Filipino and the pick that we flipped from Marcus Patterson, I think that like, I can't really say that we won. It's more so we finally did it.
I
What do you
mean,
feel?
I think honestly, short term we lost, long term we win. Because
Mm-hmm.
short term we lose a near 100-point player or a 100-point player. In JT Miller, we lose like our top center. Um, at the same time, we don't have to deal with that contract. Um, like we don't have to deal with that contract for the long term. We don't have to retain any salary. We get the pick, we flip it for two players that have also worked out, and we get rid of two players that weren't working out for the Canucks. So I think the front office, they saw the small picture and they also saw the bigger picture with it here. Yeah, I think the Rangers, Heel keeps going. Heel's also younger. We also got Mancini, um, which is a good D prospect, and he was called up again. So who knows? Maybe he gets into a game. We also have like a lot of D men right now. Um, Mark Patterson, Marcus Patterson. I called him Mark. Like we're buddies, but yeah, we won both trades with free up more cap space. I think in the long term, the deal works out pretty well for the Canucks, especially if we're able to sign Marcus Patterson. Um, but yeah, with Miller, like especially if it's causing issues in your locker room, we've seen the Canucks play. They've played much better hockey these last three games, even though they were two of them were losses. They've played much better hockey. So I don't know.
That makes sense. I just to add, like I do think that we 100% won the Penguins trade because of the fact that not only do we get someone who Crosby gassed up and said that he's a great locker room leader, which says a lot, um, but a lot of the people say that we lose the trade are kind of they are basically putting the value on the Rangers pick. And
Mm-hmm.
realistically speaking, for the Rangers to make a trade like that for JT Miller, they wouldn't make a trade like that unless they were pushing for a playoff spot,
Mm-hmm. Which they
and
are.
which they are. And let's say if they do make that playoff spot, it's a top 13 protected pick. If they make the playoffs, we would have had to keep that pick in a lackluster draft.
Yeah.
But at least now, let's say, like, basically, a lot of people were banking on the fact that the Rangers were not going to make the playoffs. They would make the top 13, win the lottery, get their pick back for this year, and then we would have a pick, their pick next year, and possibly get Gavin McKenna, which is such a stretch. And
That's so
it's
much of a stretch.
like, for one, like we gave up Desharnais. Every single show that we've done, like whether it's
There's been a problem with him.
me, whether it's Kaya, whether it's Zach, the one thing that's common about every single show is that Desharnais is bad. So the fact that he was positive value in the trade that gave us a top 4D, and not to mention Drew O'Connor as well, which is a solid depth piece for us. It gives us size in the bot six. We absolutely won that trade.
Yeah, Kyle Dubas, I don't know why I gassed him up so hard when he was in Toronto. I have no idea what that bro was doing. Um, like, oh, it's really Day was consistently bad. Yeah, McKenna will be on a bottom five too. Exactly. Like the Rangers, even if it was top 13 protected this year, it's a stretch to think that the pick, like top 13 protected this year, but you're still getting the Rangers first rounder for next year, which relies on their stats for next year. Which if the Rangers like get that top 13 spot, it's the Rangers. They're going to bounce back. They're the freaking New York Rangers. They're in the playoffs one year and then they're out the next. That just happens sometimes, but usually they're one of the teams that make the playoffs. And I'm maybe a little bit biased because I like the New York Rangers, right? But like they're not a Nashville. They're not a San Jose. They don't absolutely suck this year. they had a bad stretch, and so did the Canucks, honestly, and they're both fighting their way back up. New York still has some sizable way to go. But they need to get
Mm-hmm.
past their team. The teams that they currently need to get past are Boston, Columbus, New York Islanders, and the Habs. And they're only 6 points back of Tampa in wild card 2 and Detroit in wild card 1. They're 7 points back of.
Yeah, and
So
granted,
there's
oh, sorry, I'm
yeah,
so sorry, I cut
there's
you off
still a
again.
chance.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
no, that's okay. All I was gonna say is that, granted, the Eastern Conference is so much tighter than the Western Conference, so I definitely do see them making that push, and I definitely do not see a JT Miller led team not making the playoffs without some backlash. So yeah, I think we 100% won that
Like
team.
I'm trying
That
to
trade.
I'm not very good at math, but they're barely in the bottom 13 as it is right now. So like because yeah, it's San Jose, Chicago, Nashville, Buffalo. It's like most of the West is in the bottom 10. But yeah, New York is I think 11 spots away. They're like
It's feasible.
11th. It's feasible to get them through. Like I think there's only about 5 spots between the Canucks and the Rangers right now. I think they both make the push upwards. And yeah, I think I'm not sure if I think the Rangers will be just on the cusp, but I don't think that the top 13, it wouldn't have been protected. You're banking on the Rangers not making a push. You're banking on the Rangers after they trade for a 100-point capable center in JT Miller. You're expecting them to suck now, which I mean that happened to the Canucks, but at the same time, like, be realistic here. It's the New York Rangers. They won the President's Trophy last year. Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah, 100%. Miller quietly quit on the Canucks. Yeah, 100%. I'm not saying that he forced the trade to happen, but there's no way that with his effort he would have stayed a Canuck. Which pains me to say. I love JT Miller. Like, him at his highs, like as an emotion player, you are the heart and soul of the team. But if that heart and soul is broken, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, yeah, like it's a good change of scenery, but like just even watching that first game, like yeah, the Rangers lost. But even watching that first game, he gets 2 goals. It's just like, so were you intentionally playing that? It's like when a player has an option year on their contract and they have to hit a number of goals to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't hit that number of goals and they consistently play bad because they don't want to be here another year. That's kind of what he did. And I'm not like I don't know everything about JT Miller. I'm not JT Miller. I don't know him personally. It just yeah, it was a little disappointing, but like if it's better for him, good for you, bro. We get Philip Hedl. He knows how to play hockey. It's good enough for me.
Fair. Good point. So Connor says, do you really think that there are hockey gods and that there is really a President's Trophy President's Trophy curse seems so over the top. I think it's I'm not gonna say that it's a curse, but a lot of the times when teams go through a season, they run through a season and they win the President's Trophy, they don't play the season with any adversity and there's no real chip on their shoulder other than the fact that they were the best team in the season. And going into the playoffs, especially if all you're playing for, other than the Stanley Cup, obviously, is to maintain form, while the team that you're playing against potentially in the series is a team that like fought back, made the wild card spot, and basically gave their all just to be there. I think effort wise, for a lot of President's Trophy winners, that happens a lot, and you see that a lot in other leagues as well. Like if some of you guys watch basketball, like the 73-9 Warriors, even though they made it to the finals, they still lost. Not to say that like this is any similar, because I do think that the NHL playoffs is a lot more gruesome because it's a lot more physical. But I don't think it's a curse. I think it's just more of a mental thing.
I think it's not a curse. It's they played up to that standard throughout the whole season that they run out of gas come playoff time. I mean, the Rangers got further than a lot of the President's Trophy. Yeah, it's really hard to win the Stanley Cup because all 16 teams are really good. And yeah, sometimes you go streaks and you get the President's Trophy and you're like, okay, how did that happen? I think it's they put so much effort into the regular season that come playoff time, everyone's banged up, everyone has their issues. That's why I feel like there's always a team that had injuries, that faced adversity throughout the year. That's who ends up getting farther in the playoffs. Maybe that's just me, but like, I don't know, look at Florida from a couple of years ago, even last year. Like a team that even the Oilers last year, can't believe I'm about to praise the Oilers here, but they had to fire their coach the beginning of the season and they went on to the finals. St. Louis was at the bottom of the league back in 2019. They bring in Craig Berube and they win the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm I I think that toughness also brings you together, but kind of like what you said, but I think also like the adversity part of it as well as they just run out of steam.
Fair. And to add on that point, that's kind of why I brought up the "Are we back?" question, because I don't know if you remember this, Kaya, but like one of the main points early on in the season in one of my first episodes, I said that the Canucks need adversity,
Mm-hmm.
and even though like instead of a chip on the shoulder we got like a broken arm, I think at this point moving forward, if we are able to get over the what's it called, get over the hump that is the JT Miller PD saga, and keep mental high, and follow. I was gonna say follow the dragon, but like,
Follow.
I lost my train of thought. Basically, if we're able to keep mental high and have the team play for each other, I think there's a possibility that we at least make it just as far as we did last year, to the point where we win round one, possibly make it to round three as well, making it to the semifinals. But um, I'm I'm excited. I'm excited to see the second half of the Canucks season.
Yeah, I don't know. It just also depends on who we play. Because if we're in wild card two, the first team we play is Winnipeg, so that's like our booking our ticket to the semis right there. Sorry, Winnipeg catching strays once again. Connor Hellebuck cannot perform in the playoffs, and that is a fact. Uh, Eric Comrie got a shutout tonight though, so good for him.
So they mentioned it on Steve Dangle's podcast that sometimes the streaky teams are better in playoffs because they are so much shorter than the regular season, which makes sense. And if you're a streaky team and you're on a win streak in the playoffs, like the math just adds up.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I maybe Jake DeBrusk wins the Conn Smythe because his streak of weird goals just keeps going through, and the Canucks win the cup based off of this man who cannot score a normal goal to save his life.
Fair. Hellebuck is good in 5-on-5, but that
Good old
is also
5.
when the Canucks score their goals. So it's a
True.
matter on who is, I guess, not playing well. Whether if the Canucks have a bunch of power plays, then we probably lose that series. But
Okay, here's
yeah.
my prediction for the Western Conference Final: Winnipeg Jets, Vancouver Canucks. It's 1-1. We're going to the third overtime. All of a sudden, we hear music coming from one of the gates. Who is it? Patrick Mahomes. He comes out, he throws the touchdown. The Chiefs win the Stanley Cup.
who is it coming from the top rafters? It's Roman Reigns, because earlier this season he won the Money in the Bank, and now he's cashing in for the Stanley Cup championship.
And then the camera turns to Quinn Hughes, and he's just like,
and and with that, everyone, I think this is where we end it for tonight. My name is Mark Sianquita, joined by Kaja Antic. The next game will also be hosted by me this Thursday, same time as tonight's, as as we go against the San Jose Sharks. Hopefully it is not a loss, because we have a habit of losing against bad teams. Hi, Kaja.
it's a 7:30 p.m. start.
Oh, 7:30 p.m.
So
start.
the stream will
Great.
be even later. Judas Priest.
Are you talking about Darius Priest? Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Good night, guys.